Hello, welcome to Slick Willy Flying. What we're going to do today is a Margarita Critter. So this is a pretty cool fly. I have my cocktail. I really like the Chartreuse and white combo. I think that this is a great fly when you think there might be some snook around especially. But I think overall it's just a great fly. I tied it on a size 2 mustad hook with a nice wide gap, which I'll show you in a second. So for materials, for the tail I'm using this light olive fin Racoon. And then for the body, I'm using a little bit of this Frenzy fiber in white. And this is the white that you see blended in. And this is the only flash we're going to use on the whole fly. And I'm going to use two rubber legs, these little green, and they look very amphibious. They're not barred, but they have a bunch of black flakes in them. And I lost the original packaging, but they're awesome. I love them. And then I have one Marabou feather that I have pre-prepped. And the color is called Highlander Green. It's like a chartreuse. It's like a blend between a chartreuse and a green. Really like this color. Had great success with it. And I think it just goes really good with this fly, and hence the name Margarita. Here's another one. This one has no rubber legs. This one has a bunch of rubber legs. And of course this fly will ride hook up. They both have a weed guard. Hard to see with all the Marabou, but there's the weed guard right there. And there's a weed guard in this one as well, right there. So we'll definitely put a weed guard. And for the dumbbell eyes, I'm using a size medium brass nickel with a yellow eye. So that's the dumbbell eye we're using for this fly. So let's change the camera angle and let's tie a fly. Okay. So let's go ahead and put a size 2. This is an Ahrex NSF 115 hook instead of the mustad. I like them both. I decided to go with this black hook. And for thread, I'm using 100 denier white. And I'm probably going to take a marker to it there at the end and turn it green to match. So I'm just putting a bed down all the way to the back of the hook. Since I got this 140 denier, it's better to use a razor. Alright, so now what I always like to do is give this a little touch of super glue, because I really don't want anything to move. I hate when the materials spin. So now I'm going to bring the thread back, and now we're going to think about placing the dumbbell eyes. So I've been getting into the habit of using the dumbbell eye itself as my guide for placement. It gives me enough room to make a nice head. So now just a few wraps in each direction. I'm going to make sure that it's nice and centered, which it looks like it is. And now we just lock it nice and hard. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and put just a tiny touch of super glue on the dumbbell eyes. That's plenty. Now I'm very sure that the dumbbell eyes are not going to move. Perfect. Okay. So the first step is the fin Racoon, and you can easily use craft fur. I used to use craft fur, but I picked up this fin Racoon, and so far I'm loving it. So I'm just going to get a little clump, that size right there, and This is going to be my tail. Now, this fly needs to be a little bit longer than most of the flies I tie because of the Marabou. The Marabou will overwhelm the fly otherwise. So I'm going to go 2 full hook shanks. Couple loose wraps, making sure I like it, which I do. I can pull that tight and crank that down. Don't really need to trim anything here. I just leave it like that just to help build a little body, a little bulk. But I do want to take a couple wraps under just to make sure that this tail gets nice and posted. All right. So now for the body, to give this fly the body that I'm looking for, I'm going to go ahead and make a dubbing loop. And I've taken about, I would say about a pencil thickness of the frenzy fiber. And I've cut it into what is about, I don't know, 1.5 inch lengths. So when I pulled out the frenzy fiber, that strand that I pulled out was enough to cut it about 4 times. So I'm going to put it in my dubbing loop. And once it's in my dubbing loop, I'm going to go ahead and use my fingers to just nicely and evenly as possible. Just going to spread this out. So it's not a huge clump. It's going to look just like that. And then I'm going to spin it up. Just like that. Now, I do want to take a needle, or you could take a lice brush, or I have actually a lice brush here, a little lice brush, and just dig out the trapped fibers. And yes, some are going to get pulled out, but not enough to worry about. All right, so once you have that all picked out and you're happy with it, I guess you can never be all picked out, but once you're happy with it, you're going to go ahead and get your thread out of the way. You can use your rotary function if you have it, or you can just do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. I am going to try and get all the fibers towards the back. You notice, here's an important tip. I don't start right at the tail. I have a gap here because the fibers are long. No need to start right at the tail. And I'm not really going to go so far forward either. But I'm going to draw the fibers back, you know, just as if I was palmering. Trying to bring everything to the back. Ooh, that's not good. My thread broke. That's very unusual. I'm going to get a hackle plier out and save this. I cannot believe that happened. That is very, very unusual that that happened. You notice I'm not really going very far forward. I'm almost wrapping on top of itself. And that's plenty. You know, normally for that to happen, what just happened where the thread broke, you normally have to like catch the point of the hook or do something to make the thread break. That was very unusual. But we have a good save, and the nice thing about my videos is I really do try to do everything in one take. So you see what actually happens to me. I don't have a production crew. There's no like editing going on here. But all right, so that's taken care of. Got lucky. And again, we're gonna go ahead and pick out the fibers. And again, you can use a needle. You can use just about anything. You can bring out the old lice brush again. And I actually think these little lice brush or a dog comb or whatever you have, they actually work very well. And I think that looks perfect. Bunch of fibers going the wrong way, which we will clean up. Anything that's going the wrong way at this point, I like to snatch it. So now I'm going to take one of my 2 legs, and I'm going to go ahead and put it as equally as I can on the thread. Checking that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on the side closest to me first. And remember, this is going to ride hook up, so think about how you attach that. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing, and I'm going to attach it on the opposite side. This is all the legs we're going to use. Perfect. That came out good, really good. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and make another dubbing loop. Hopefully this is going to work better than the first dubbing loop. Get my thread out of the way again. And that Marabou that I had pre-prepped, it is time for the Marabou. I could put a link to how I prep Marabou. Got plenty of videos where I show how I do it. Now we're going to go ahead and spin this up. Just like that. Again, we're going to take a needle and try to untrap fibers. Normally when I spin Marabou, I usually use 2 feathers, but for this fly I only use 1. Now it's important that the rubber legs are where they're supposed to be before you take your first wrap. And again, I'm going to draw everything to the back. And again, you can easily use a rotary function if you have it on your vise, but it's not necessary. And the reason that I'm not doing it is really the rubber legs. They just get a little crazy when you start spinning the whole fly. It's just as easy to do it the old-fashioned way. Man, this is such an awesome fly. I love this color combo, this white and chartreuse. The fin Racoon is a fairly new product for me. Been using it a little bit, chasing rainbow trout. And the biggest reason that I'm loving it is I was told by a friend that it fouls less than craft fur. And I think it's definitely factual. I'm like very impressed with the way the action and just how good it casts. Super impressed, loving it. So now I'm on a mission to find more fin Racoon. It's not the easiest stuff in the world to find, unfortunately. So I'm going to go under, and now I'm going to trap this. Trap it again. I'll trap it 3 or 4 times just to make sure that I really have it. I'm going to get my thread out of the way. I spin the whole entire fly because I don't like to cut on the same side as the thread bobbin. Nice. So now I need to get my marker out. I need to clean this up a little bit. Then I'm going to get my marker out and I'm going to change the color of my thread. You know, you have choices in fly tying. You can invest in a bunch of different colors of thread, which nothing wrong with that. Or you can invest in a bunch of markers and then just buy white thread all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that either. They both work great. So, as you can see, it's not very difficult to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and use UV resin to finish this head. So this head is going to really just look great. So now the underneath is pretty much taken care of. So I'm going to turn this fly over. See what the top looks like. Top needs a little more. But sometimes it's just as easy to get in there with your marker and carefully just color it up. Just like that. Alright, so now the last step that I'm going to do is a weed guard. I'll get a little bit of my hard mono, which I didn't actually have ready, but this takes a second. Now, this hard mono is so hard that I actually use my wire cutter to cut the weed guard. I mean, it's crazy hard, which is good. It's what you want. I have this little tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a flat spot. I use the natural curl of the mono to help me. I'm going to give it a little flat spot. And then I actually take the mono and I bend it. I bend it so the flat spot ends up coming out like an L. And it's super simple. I can place it right on top, right where I want it. And then it's just a few soft wraps till I get it right where I want it. Just like that. Perfect. And now I lock it. And remember, I'm going to use UV resin. So this is really going to get secured really well. Oh, I forgot. I have to back up here a little. Actually, I don't have to. I just give it a few more wraps. Forgot to color my thread. My wraps started turning white. You know, one day I'm gonna remember I have a cup of water sitting by me when I'm tying flies, because my flies end up getting a little bit of slobber on them. I know that doesn't sound very nice, but it's the truth. I end up using quite a bit of spit. All right, that came out perfect. I love it. I'm gonna give it one wrap. Make sure I color my thread. I'm gonna give it one wrap behind in that direction. And then I'm gonna come back and give it a wrap in the opposite direction. Actually, I'm not. That's gonna be it. It's a whip finish. And that's the fly. Cut off my thread. This is such an awesome fly. Super simple. It's gonna have awesome action and gonna catch a ton of fish. You know, my goal with this fly is redfish, but the reason I love these colors so much is, you know, down in South Florida, it is not unusual to run into a snook while redfish fishing. And snook, I just think the snook love these colors. And this fly you can easily tie in tans and browns, throw in a little orange with the tan. They look great. So I'm gonna cut my weed guard a little long, because I like to trim the fine trimming I like to do when I'm at the water. And now it's just a little bit of UV resin, and this fly is ready to fish. You know, I hope you all are staying safe. There's a pretty wicked storm heading towards the Florida Panhandle, and it's supposed to make landfall tomorrow morning, or tomorrow, Thursday. It's Wednesday evening for me right now. And it's supposed to wreck everything from Tampa all the way up into, I don't know, maybe Alabama, depending on where it comes to ground. And they're saying that it's going to be a 3 or possibly even a strong 4. And they're projecting it might even be a hurricane when it comes over into Georgia. So I sure hope everyone is going to be safe and be ready to tie some more flies and catch some more fish. Be right back. I guess we should cure this first. Great example of you're not in a rush with UV resin. And like all my flies, this will sit in my windowsill and cure all day tomorrow. Alright, so we're back. So there it is, the Margarita Critter. Super simple fly, catches a lot of fish. This is gonna swim hook up, just like this one. And again, very, very, very easy tie. You know, what I love about this fly is the materials are not expensive, and you can make a lot of flies with these packages. So this is really a real Slick Willy. It meets the Slick Willy criteria of what I like. Keeping it simple, catching a bunch of fish. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Check me out on Instagram, Slick Willy Flies on Instagram. Love to see some pictures. Love to start getting some more pictures from people catching catching fish with my flies. Thank you for watching. If you live in that Florida Panhandle, be safe tonight. We'll be saying our prayers for everybody. Good luck catching. See you on the next video.